Today we wake up, it's 14 degrees out in the garage on our thermometer, and it felt even colder. I don't know why. It was really a brutal day. I knew ahead of time we weren't going to be able to get anything painted today, not in these temperatures that never really went into the 20s. It really stayed cold the whole day. So we tried to get together with Joe Padula today, and we managed to link up with him in the afternoon. And I managed to get my ice chopped, which is always a big project in the morning. I managed to share some good tips from Scott and from Joe. And Karen had me give me another cooking lesson. She's been doing that pretty regularly. Finally got together with Joe, and he brought the other Ducati fairing over that needs some repair. A little bit different than the first one, but we're working on a plan to restore it. It's going to be too cold to do anything on a wheel project today. And we rounded out the day knowing that my grandson's coming over for a visit. So today I brought Joe's Ducati fairing out to the garage. It is so cold out here, I am just going to leave it here until Joe gets here. He's due here later today. But I've got a lot of other stuff on the agenda today. When it's this cold, and it was in the low teens this morning, the number one job is to get that ice chopped out there before anything happens. And the good news is Karen we're going to do another Instapot. We're going to make some beef barley soup today. So I have to make this decision. Do I want to be out in a freezing cold garage, or do I want to be having beef barley soup? It's going to be an easy decision. We'll do both. Now Joe's fairing really is coming out great. He's got the paint today, and I'm sure there'll be some stories with the paint, the decals. Doing one of these exotic bikes is always, it's a labor of love to begin with, but then getting the parts and supplies is a labor of labor. It's just, it never ends, whether it's Vlad's Bomotas or these exotic Ducatis or whatever. And hey, the beautiful thing about motorcycling is it's like a buffet. If you enjoy these old Kawasaki's and Yamahas or GS's or Harley Davidsons with big speakers in the saddlebags, whatever you want, we're all in the same brotherhood. So I think the corporate decision was that this rubber piece is going to get replaced. Joe's trying to replace it. It's of course not available. But again, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to get the paint. He got Color Right paint, which should be a good match. And so the main thing is I got to get that ice chopped and get out of this garage where it is really in the teens. When Craig and I dug this pond 25 years ago, I never thought it would be this much work, and I never thought I'd get this old. After chopping that ice, I am ready for big coffee. What are we going to make today with that Instapot, baby?
We're making beef barley soup.
Beef barley soup. Oh, I hope it's hot beef barley soup. Birds, we're making beef barley soup. I can see you're all excited. Just fill the feeder, Wendy. So after a nice cup of coffee here, I'm laying out the project that we want to work on today. First thing we want to do is meet with Joe and get that paint. And I want to do some sanding on this. Oh boy, did this come out nice. This is, if you saw this in real life, how nice this is. This is almost perfectly flat. This is just going to need a sanding maybe with 400, 600, I don't know. The hub, which was the worst part, that'll need maybe a sanding and another coat of primer, and maybe I'll do the whole wheel, since this came out so nice, do the whole wheel and give it a second coat of primer, because that big snow is on its way here. It's supposed to be here tomorrow morning, but we maybe can get that done today. And we're ready to rejuvenate the disc, and I've got some cool stuff to share. This is some good sharing information. Now first there's some information from Joe, and he sent some links to some Valentine radar information that I want to have, and that's what I like about being able to share the information. I'll pass this on to the A-teamers. Now it's no secret, my Valentine radar detector for many years now. Jose talked me into getting this. I know Vince has one, and many people have these, so in our group on the A-team, and so does Joe down there in Myrtle Beach now, of course. But that is, of all the investments I've made in motorcycling, that one has paid the biggest dividends. So the second thing today to share came from Scott in Kansas. And this is called Allen fasteners, and it just so happens that we're going to be buying some new hardware for this project, the bolts that hold the discs on. I'll check this out. He said he's bought from them, and their prices are better than Bolt Depot, which we used in the past. Allen's, now let me see if I can get that up on the screen. Allen's fasteners, and by the way, we always like to share the information. These are good sources, and anytime we can share information on the A-Team, that's what it's all about. And thank you everyone, including Turbo Steve, of course, for sharing information through the A-Team and through these videos. So before Joe gets here, I'm going to work with Karen on this, making some beef barley soup. We got some of these ingredients from the Indian store the other day. This ought to be tasty. Okay, what's step one? Put the meat in?
Put the meat in.
The meat products.
Olive oil, salt, and pepper.
Olive oil, salt, and pepper. So this recipe calls for 5 minutes, and I'm sitting here, oh, the smell coming out of that pot. Oh, so much better than Bondo. Next part of this, 5 minutes on the cabbage. Oh my God, cabbage and meat. For anybody looking at this video, if you could only smell the smell coming out of this pot, if you like beef barley soup, holy mackerel. That is aromatic, baby. What's that, garlic now? We're adding garlic to this?
Garlic and saute for 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Stir that Bondo for 30 seconds, guys. Add diced potatoes. Oh, it's even better by the second. What do you got there now?
Pro barley.
Barley, okay.
Tomatoes,
and what is this?
Tomatoes.
Wow. Ducati paint. Look at that. Joe's Ducati paint just went in this too.
1 second.
Beef base, okay. All right. How long I got to stir this for?
Keep stirring.
Just keep stirring. Just keep stirring. I thought I had a high-skilled, high-tech job. I'm like a Bondo mixer here. What goes in next?
This is herbs de Provence.
Wow. Maybe they'll hire me in a Ducati dealer to mix Bondo or something. This is a lot like the borscht I made a video of making the day I made borscht for Karen. But this is really, having this Instapot is really a cool thing. It's really a cool tool. Now what are we adding?
The rest of the beef stock.
Beef stock. I can hear it mooing. So my job here is, I'm really just a glorified mix master. I don't really get any credit. I don't get to wear a white hat or anything. I just stir the pot. They always say I stir the pot. Maybe they're right. There's a big mouse outside. Oh no, it's Joe. He's here with more Ducati parts. How funny, you can't make that up. Okay, so here you go. There's the other matching side. The rubber you can take home with you.
Okay, good.
That's
I'm gonna
useful.
go shopping with it.
Yeah. Now what, you want to do a track day with this, right?
So I did a track day with it,
Okay.
and it didn't go well,
Yeah, it never does.
and I couldn't ride the bike.
Oh.
I had my 86 GSXR 750, which was my track bike, and I brought them both, and I did 2 sessions on the Ducati, got frustrated because I couldn't get it to turn, and I parked it. And then, of course, loading it up the ramp onto the trailer,
yeah, for sure.
the ramp slipped, and
Yep, I see.
that's how that got there.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I should never load or unload this bike. Anyway,
I don't know what
that's when it gets damaged.
maybe what you got to do is, this happened to Luciano and I a couple times, when you go up a ramp and there's like a peak at it. And I bought him a ramp so we wouldn't have that problem again, and it worked. But the bikes that are real low, they do have that problem. No, just take all the rubber bushings, take the blinkers out, we know where the decals go. I'll see what I can come up with for a repair on the bottom. And that little chip up by the blinker, I already have an idea how I can do the little windy magic trick with that. Now this is funny, while Joe and I are out in the garage talking about motorcycles, Karen's Instapot, I'm running in and out trying to help her with this Instapot thing. And the soup smells so good. All right, so Joe brought the Colorite paint, and we're going to try to touch up that other fairing. Has some gather. We got some. This is the good primer too. So we are, and thank you, Joe, for the contribution. So Joe left. The pot has the lid up that it's still under pressure, and 15 minutes from now, we're going to have soup. Meantime, I'll bring everything down the cellar. Oh my God. Yeah, I'll clean up, no problem. Look at that. Oh my God. I'm hungry for lunch. So the steak played out pretty well. We got some soup to have for lunch. Oh, that smells so good. You can't believe it. And I've already started to think about, Joe took the blinkers and all the rubber grommets, so I have that part to work on. I have the red paint now. It's way too cold to paint today. Only primer if I ever get to do any priming. But this part is ready for the red. This part I'm going to show what I think is going to be a reasonable way to touch this up without resanding the whole part. I'll try to put every step of that on video. And in the meantime, I just want to bring everything back down the shop. And as always, get out of the tundra. It is just too cold out here right now. It's still in the low teens. So it's good to have everything in house now for this repair, and I am already thinking about, and I'm taking a real close look at this. See, there's chips that somebody touched up. We can make that a lot better because we're going to be putting the clear on it. And this will be a similar thing to what we did for Dale's RZ. I will have a way of figuring that out. There's a little crack up here, and we're going to try to straighten that out if we can. And as I'm looking out a microscope here, another crack here. But the idea is I don't think this panel needs to be totally refinished. It's going to need a lot of TLC. This will be a great project for showing how to do this kind of repair. It's chewed up in the back here. We can fix that. I don't want to pull that rubber pad off just in case he can't get the rubber pads. And all of this down here is chewed up, but we can sand that. And I'm sure one of the things I would almost be really confident in saying is we can take this panel now, and when this one is done and he's in a process of getting the decals, and once this is red, this is the thing I want to do is make sure this red and this red match, even if I have to put a coat of clear on this. And he doesn't have the clear yet, so he's in the process of getting that. Once I know that red is going to match, then I can go right ahead and start this little touch-up. But at some point in time, what I'll be able to do is scuff this all down with 1000 grit and get a coat of clear on both parts. It'll bury those decals a little bit nicer, and hopefully we'll have two matching parts, and Joe Padula will be the happiest guy in in New Jersey, I hope. I hope so, Joe. We're going to do our best. Oh, look at that baby. Ooh, I'm ready to start the sanding operation. But you know what? It's not going to play out today. Today we're having a visit from my grandson, so I see there's a floor in there I can work on. But this will be a whole thing. That'll be a whole nother day, probably tomorrow. I'll get with that and sand it. But just having that in-house and starting to work on a plan for that restoration, that's going to be, boy, and it's so cold out there. It's brutal. I don't even think you could do primer today. It's in the teens still here in the afternoon. Now this was quite an unpredictable day. I didn't know how that, main thing is if we had this other part, I didn't know how much work was going to be to repair that. Well, I do know now, and now it's going to give me a couple days to think about how I want to do it. Because tomorrow we're supposed to wake up tomorrow morning to a big snowstorm, so, but at least having this stuff in house, it's given me options that I can peck away at it a little bit each day. And I know, for instance, the wheel, I'm so happy the way this wheel is coming out. I don't want to rush it. I don't want to try to and run out when it's 15 degrees and try to prime it. That's you're sealing your own grave when you do the digging your own grave. Anyway, Karen had a great day. We made some great soup, and I do enjoy working and sharing the kitchen with her. She's teaching me how to cook. We made borscht. We made other stuff. There's a million things we're trying to make anyway, and they're all delicious. And thank you, Karen. I really do enjoy having that homemade food. So, before I end the video, I have to thank the healthcare workers. I am so appreciative of the effort and the passion that you people put into keeping us safe. thank you guys one and all. I hope you enjoyed the video, maybe, and that information sharing from the A-Team. Boy, and Joe has some other stuff that he's added to in the past, he's added places I could get RD parts from. So by everybody helping each other, you know what I always say, it's just a good way to live. It's just better than being angry about everything anyway. And I hope you did enjoy the video, and thank you so much for watching. So before we end the video, we have some great outtakes from footage of Glenn repairing his Ducati in my shop during the heyday of the A-Team, when we literally had a factory and we were doing multiple bikes all the time. Now we're also ready for some dedicated time on the Benelli. We need to get at least one of these jobs here so we have a little more room. And as if that wasn't enough, Bob Navola is getting ready to pull the forks off his Honda so we can repaint the forks on the front of his Honda. And while he has it apart, he can clean up all of the little parts that go with it. So the bottom line is, it's crazy, it's busy. We never had more fun in all the time I've been doing this. And I just can't wait to see this bike. Glenn's got an exhaust system, a 2-into-1 for it. I just can't wait to see that, among other things, put together. Just so exciting. We got so many things going on at the same time here. But right now, I had a couple little things on here. You know, this is what's funny about this. The video we did about polishing this engine has about 2,000 hits the last time I looked. It's probably one of the most popular videos we've made, but this group are doing. Let's see, how long is it going to take you to pull 2 tires? Should I put the coffee on? Multitasking job of the day. Glenn's got a fairing. This is one that has, I see I've repaired that already. That's my repair, but we never painted this, did we?
No, that was never done.
This one's got a crack somewhere. Here's the crack. We're going to try to repair that. It's got a touch-up area. Did you ever figure out the overheating thing?
I haven't yet. I talked with Mark last night.
Mark, have any ideas?
Yeah, Mark said it's very, Luciano also, very possible that it just boiled itself off with a loose cap.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean,
well, take the cap off your other bike. Just switch them and see if that makes sense.
It doesn't fit. I tried.
Oh, okay.
I wish it did.
Take the one of Luciano's and don't tell him. Hey, Luciano. Okay.
Yeah, so this part has never been touched.
This is not. This is the side that we repaired.
We never repaired any of this stuff.
Okay, the bike was damaged on the clutch side.
On the left-hand side, yeah.
Okay, so the things we're going to work on, we got a crack somewhere up here. Anyway, I know there's
a crack here. We have a
touch up here.
A touch up here, and then part of this fairing had already been repaired with some carbon
so we're going to
fiber
make
in the
that
past.
little piece, or just fill it with filler.
Right.
Since it's on the bottom, we don't have to be too fussy about that.
No.
But for sure, the start thing is to fix the crack.
Fixing the crack.
Flip that up. Now we got to peel this away somehow.
Right.
What holds that on? Is it just?
It's glued on. So I've already started to peel it
we can
away.
re-glue it. Just take enough that we can get some carbon fiber down in there. Unidirectional carbon fiber across bridging the crack before we put in the patch. That'll just keep, because these cracks start at the edge. Usually,
so here's the crack itself.
Yeah.
You follow that path. This is the crack coming up this way into the fairing. So you got one piece of this carbon fiber strand that Wendy started straight across where the crack started. Didn't start down here, it started up here. So if we don't repair this up here,
you're toast. Like tearing a phone book, it's got to start at the cover and work its way in. Right. So now we'll cut a patch exactly this size, put that patch in, and then start on the other side.
Right. And it turns into a hard splinter. And if you get a carbon fiber splinter in it. So I learned this trick from a guy. I don't know who he is, but he lives in this house.
Evil twin. He is evil.
Take a paint stirrer.
Yep.
Just throw a piece of sandpaper over it, and instead of you getting the splinter,
let the paint stirrer get the splinter. And now we're all done with this. We're going to put an extra layer of CA over that, and then that rubber goes right back in position, and then we just have to try to dress off the other side of it.
If you want to know how strong, now this bike hit a paint can, but there was already a crack down here where you could see this is an old carbon fiber repair.
This is the old repair we did a
Wendy
couple
did
years
about
ago.
2 years ago.
Okay.
If you want to know how strong the carbon fiber repair is in comparison to the actual glass piece or plastic, the ABS.
Yeah, it's plastic.
The ABS.
The ABS breaks, and the carbon fiber doesn't.
The carbon fiber never went anywhere.
Sure.
So I guess that's why they charge $1 million for a Varion, the Bugatti. Maybe that's why.
The windy Varion, huh?
Can we do the whole fairing in carbon fiber?
Well, if this were a race bike, the whole fairing would be carbon fiber,
Right.
except you'd be broke.
And think about, but I mean, in terms of the
You'd have to use Luciano's money.
right, in terms of how light this roll of carbon fiber
Oh, yeah.
actually is, and how strong. It
Well,
is.
but think about it. That roll of carbon fiber is $350. No, so I mean, you get what you pay for. This
Certainly
plastic is probably 9 cents a kilo or something.
All right, I'm gonna go one more time in there.
Yeah, one more. Put a little more in there, and then spread it around with a Q-tip. And you can feel the Q-tip start to drag. Then you know you're at the end of the shelf life, which is about 30 seconds if you don't use kicker. Now you should always keep, just general information, should always keep this material in the refrigerator. It should never be, let me just show this. I always like to show things in real time. Oh, I forgot to do the laundry this morning. We're so excited. This is what you should do. Karen Berry, oh, there it is down there. You should always keep the paint, the 4-to-1, the hardener in the refrigerator, not the freezer. And the CA extends the shelf life by a lot. I wish somebody would extend my shelf life.
Get in the fridge.
Put me in the fridge. Put me in, coach. Okay, so that looks like...
Yeah, I just want to give it one last shot of kicker.
Okay, give it a shot of kicker. And I think then that part of it now is in the bank. That's a good repair.
This is a nice repair. This is
Now, if nothing else, even if you still see the crack on the other side, it's not going to crack worse.
that's done.
Okay, the final thing, we put a little bit of contact cement on this because that rubber, what is that?
It's almost like a foam padding.
It looks like, yeah.
that keeps the heat from.
Yeah, okay. It
the-
makes it aerodynamic inside the cowling or whatever here, the fairing. Okay, now see, the nice thing about the contact cement, if you have to pull this up,
Just gonna leave it here
Yeah.
to set it.
yeah. Or you can put a piece of Gorilla Tape there. Or that silver tape, you know, that silver stuff that, like for air conditioning. That would be, that's even better than what the factory uses. Just remember, the factory doesn't always use the best possible stuff.
so here's
they use
the-
the cheapest.
Here's gonna be the telltale.
Okay, so let's see, pull that up and see how much tape sticks to the fairing, if any. You have a clean?
Little tiny hair. So
Okay.
come around this side and you'll see it.
Okay. Okay, now you got to make the choice. Do you want to repaint that? Or do you want to just run a little touch-up paint in there?
I'm gonna run touch-up paint on it, but I do want to hit it with a little bit of sandpaper and do it just enough, and then I'll buff it back out again.
Okay, but once you go down that road, once you go down through the red, now you got to paint the red.
Not going
So-
through the red. I'm just gonna sandpaper.
You heard it here first. Yeah. Okay. We got plenty
Feel
of sand.
this.
Yeah, I know.
It's high.
Exactly.
So, what do you think? Maybe a
I wouldn't-
1,000 grit.
I think you're going to sand through the red and it's going to be like ongoing, like you amputate your finger, but now you got to
give me
amputate
1,000
your
grit.
arm. If anything, wait, you get
2,000.
don't do it with 600. This is 2,000. All right, for anybody that doesn't know, Bondo, you can speed it up the process with a little bit of heat, just warm, or you can put it out in the sun, a day like today.
Slightly tacky. It's almost
Okay, now what Glenn did is he sanded, put a little of this, it's from the Ducati, the touch-up paint. Some of the spots here, we're going to try to buff them out. Luckily, we know a man with a $500 buffer. Every time I tell somebody your buffer gets $100 more.
I think this is a pretty good candidate next season, next winter
Yeah.
rather, for a respray.
And then you can dress this all in.
You know, this is my daily rider, and it gets a lot of use. This is, you know,
And you're rough on equipment.
I am.
Let's be real.
I am.
And this is a bike, he's got an intimate relationship. We've taken the engine out. He's putting the
Very
engine
much.
back in
Yep.
with the water pump attached. What an ordeal. Ay, ay, ay.
And the swing arm. Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, ay, ay. That's my new saying. Ay, ay, ay.
Look for that video if you want to see a treat.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God Luciano was here. The
What-
voice of reason.
no, let's not get too reasonable. This is okay. This is going to be fine. You can force dry this to a point, but you can't make it go in 2 minutes. Now, what you could do while you're waiting for
I
these...
did. I hit these a couple
Okay,
with some
hit it with the buffing wheel.
I'm going to do that now.
Put some of your magic compound on there.
I'll do that now.
Get it all over the mirror if you can.
Where is the wheel?
It's under the table there. You've been relegated, see, because everybody's... My good customers get the top shelf. They get the table.
I'm on the floor.
The low-class guys get the floor.
I've been here.
Oh, the Benelli. And hey, we did get our camera. I'm not going to open the box because I want to make a video about that. It was in that box. This was another tab. Where's that tab I made for the Benelli? Holy mackerel. There was a lot of work working on that. I'll get some work done on that.
When it's done. That's
Trust me.
That's gonna be. It's one of my favorite colors.
Trust me.
Straight silver metallic.
Yep.
Beauty.
And the green that goes on that bike is, beautiful. And Vlad's got track bike stuff, so whatever paint we have left over from this, we can paint his track bike.
Excellent.
And I know it's in white fiberglass already, so that'll be, we don't have to deal with taking off.
Okay, it creates that type of a look.
You have that fogged out now. But see now, if you could here's the test. If you could rub your finger on this and close your eyes, you can't feel it, good chance you'll get most of it out.
Right.
But if you all of a sudden feel a ditch, it ain't, because you got to get the clear to go down the level of the ditch, and by that time, sometime you're into the red.
Right. So we're gonna give this a
Okay,
shot.
buffing, baby. Here we go. Well, look at that mirror. Wow. Good thing I own stock in a Windex company. Oh my God, I'm getting a headache. I've relegated Mark's job to the back burner here because we're waiting for some decals that came in today, and he's going to deliver them today. It's not show quality, but you know what? I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. In the fall, painting these parts when it's not the riding season is... And right now it's the riding season. You're supposed to have this done in the winter when it's snowing out. See if I can see myself in it. Can I? Oh, yes. All right.
I mean, this is where a lot of the schmutz will show up, but
yeah, now the Bondo, it's still there. You just don't worry. You don't even
that
see that. No, we're not going to do that today.
I mean, you're talking about a 17-year-old motorcycle that's got 32,000 miles on it already. So this fairing,
that's nice.
That's 32,000 miles on this fairing without any repaints or anything like that. So
see, now you're learning the stuff that you need to do to upgrade these parts and buff them and repair them. Not many people know how to do that, and when you can do that, boy, Mark I know can put the tabs on now, and he's working with the CA and that.
So here's where the stress crack is, and you can still see the crack. Unfortunately, you can still see it.
Now, Glenn went on to help a lot of people repair motorcycles. I know he's a generous person about helping other people, and I'm very happy that worked out for him. We have done, this is the Larry Dettori Memorial bike, among other things. We had done a lot of stuff in the shop back in the day, and it's really great memories for me. I hope you enjoy sharing them, some projects we did, among others, for Mark Morgan. You have to remember, here's Vlad's Benelli. You have to remember, back in the day, we were a factory. The A-Team, we had bikes, sometimes 5, 6, 7 bikes in the cellar at one time, parts everywhere. We were using Glenn's garage, my garage, Luciano's house. The A-Team was kind of a special thing. Now, we've kind of got a bare bones A-Team going on, but it's still wonderful memories. It's still a wonderful time. I was always happy to share what I know, what I do know, and maybe I'll learn some more in the future. And I'm so happy that so many people still left on the A-Team are still sharing information. It's a great time. Glenn learned how to fix his Ducati. I know we're helping Joe Padula right now. He'll be happy when those parts are done. But all of this information, by sharing it, we all are the winner. There's nobody loses when you can share the information. And I'm committed to that. I'm very passionate about it. I try to get that point across on my videos. I put a lot of time and energy into editing them and making them fun to watch. And I hope ultimately that you enjoy them. And the people that still watch them from the A-Team, the original A-Team from 10 years ago, maybe longer, I don't even know. I hope you guys all enjoyed them and enjoy watching them and enjoy sharing this passion that we all have for motorcycling. And thanks for watching.